I'm here.
Hello, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good. Sebastian, I don't know if you saw, but we were able to send out that letter of intent a couple minutes ago.
Then also to Sebastian, shoot, I'm trying to remember which one it was.
Dockside.
Dockside, yeah. The contract was sent over to Dockside to sign, so hopefully we get a signature on that. And then whose lead was the Arizona one that I'm doing the contract on right now? Cherie?
Yeah, Sherry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was on a call. I know you mentioned my name, but I couldn't really hear what you were saying. You just got done with another call.
No worries. Yeah, we just sent out that LOI, and then for the Dockside one, I sent out that signed contract, just waiting for the seller's signature on there.
Great.
Yeah, so hopefully we get that one locked up.
Good,
I'm
good. Yeah, it
working.
was with that one. Like I said, she was the day I called her, she was on her way to the Maldives on her honeymoon. And so it was um it took longer just because of the time difference for her to respond to some things, but it seemed like they were interested and hopefully hopefully everything smooth selling from now on.
Awesome. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think we're ready to get started. I think how we're going to start is with the first 20 to 30 minutes. We're going to be doing one-on-one plays with whoever volunteers. And we'll just kind of walk through a conversation. I'll be the agent, and then whoever volunteers can be the seller. And from there, we could kind of have a conversation, go over it, and learn what we could do better going forward, and then also highlight the things that you did really well. So, is there anyone that would like to volunteer as the first person to go?
I'd be open to go.
Okay, cool. All right, so I don't know if you've ever done a role play, but just to keep it simple, when you talk about an address, just to use 123 Main Street, and then um, yeah, just treat it like if
Yeah.
it's a real call, and then I'll be the agent, and I'm ready
All right.
whenever you
Yeah.
are.
Sounds good. Hey, Alex, I'm calling about the property you have listed at 123 Main Street. I'm wondering if it's still available.
Yeah, we have a couple of offers on it, just waiting for contracts.
Great, great. So I'd introduce myself. I'm Sebastian. I live in Miami, but I'm looking to purchase a home in the Tampa area to use as a long-term rental. I'm wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about the property. I know it looks great on the pictures, but I'm not really looking to get into anything that's going to need any major repairs or renovations. Is the property in pretty good conditions?
Yeah, the property's in pretty good shape. We noticed that there's a couple shingles on the roof that are missing, although there is a warranty on it, so you should be covered if anything comes up with that. And in terms of the interior,
Okay, yeah, that should be.
cool. The bathrooms are a little bit outdated, but everything's fine. You may need to paint some rooms and remove some carpet, but nothing major.
So you're saying just with like some cosmetic work, it'd
Right.
be good to put a tenant there.
Yeah, I would say it would just be some slight cosmetic work, and yeah, it's pretty much rent ready. Just want to freshen up things and make sure everything looks good.
Okay, okay. And I know you mentioned that you already have a couple offers, so I just want to get your feedback on the showing so far.
Yeah, so in terms of showing feedback, I've had a couple people walk the property that said that the backyard was a little too small for them. And then I've also heard some complaints about the size of the primary bedroom.
Okay. Yeah, looking at the pictures, I was thinking about that too. What did you think of that bedroom yourself?
I think it's fine. I think just with how high interest rates are, people are being really picky with what they want. And so I think it's just a matter of time and seeing if the right we come across the right buyer.
Okay. Yeah, I see that the current owners purchased this house a year ago. Do you know why they're selling?
Yeah, so what the seller told me is they have another job opportunity they want to take, but they have to move out of state. So in order to be able to make that happen, they need to sell this property.
Okay, and what is their timeline with that? Like, would they be okay with 30-day closing, or do they need more time
So
to
they're
move?
so they're actually moving in about 2 weeks or so. And so they would like to have it sold before they have to move, just so they could start signing any of the documents that need to be signed. But yeah, the sooner the better on this one.
Okay. And I'm wondering if we were to come in with an all cash offer, do you know if there's any wiggle room on that price?
We're a little flexible. Um, just depends how much you are looking to negotiate.
I'd probably be quite aggressive. So I mean, I don't want to offend you with an offer that may not be what the seller is looking for. But just thinking out loud here, I could come close to the asking price, maybe even the asking price. Do you know if the seller is open to doing creative financing?
There's been a couple other investors that have called about that, but I'm not really too familiar what you mean by subject to. Could you just tell me a little bit more about what that is and how the process would work?
Yeah, of course. I'm actually in the process of closing on a property in Miami this way. So basically, um, the seller is in the same situation where he purchased the house a year ago, and he's having to move because of work relocation. So his equity on the house is actually, the value of the house is actually a little bit less. So he was gonna have to come um, with money out of pocket to pay some of the commissions and the closing costs. So what we're actually doing is I'll take care of the closing costs and the listings agent's commission, and I'll just take over the existing mortgage. Um, and you know he can walk away. He's not responsible for any of the maintenance of the property. He just the deed gets transferred to us, but we just continue making the payments. There's actually a third-party company that's involved in these payments, so they're guaranteed to be made on time, and there's obviously contracts to protect both the sellers and the buyers. So that's basically what subject to is.
Gotcha. That sounds interesting, and I think they might be open to something like that. But what if you were to miss a payment? What would happen then?
So actually, like I said, there's contracts to protect both the sellers and the buyers. So if for any reason, let's say I get abducted by aliens, and I cannot make the payments anymore, there's actually a clause that they would the deed gets transferred back to the seller, and they would get all the benefits from the loan pay downs that we've made so far, from the cash that was made up front, and any and all upgrades that we did to the property as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I would love to present something like that. Would you be able to get that in writing for me?
Yeah, of course. I would just need some additional information to get you a more detailed offer. I would just need to understand what the current loan balance is, their current PITI and interest rate, and I'll be able to get you a formal offer.
Gotcha. I have a mortgage statement from about a month ago. Do you think that would be okay for now?
Yeah, that would be okay. I mean, as long as that has the interest rate, the PITI, I mean, the loan balance should be, we'll just calculate one less payment since he's probably made that payment from the month ago.
Gotcha.
But that should work. Yeah, of course.
Okay,
If you
great.
can send that over to me, I'll text you right now my email address, and I'll review it, and we'll be able to send an offer.
Okay, great. And if we were to proceed with this, do you know how fast you could close by?
I mean, this could be a little quicker than a traditional sale, but normally we do 30 days as well. But we could do it a little quicker if need be.
Great. Okay. Yeah, I'll get over that info to you and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Alex.
Great. That was really good, Sebastian. I think one thing that I really liked about how you were on the phone was when you used that third-party story about acquiring another property in Miami. I think that's something that when I started using, I noticed a drastic change in response from agents, because once you're able to make it clear that this isn't your first time and you really are doing this type of business, they feel a little bit more comfortable with you and they'll be a little bit more open to telling you more info and just working with you in general. So I think something like that was really good of you to be doing.
Yeah, in general, like I like to when the agent is open, I like to spend a little more time, and just for time's sake, like I'll get into more of relationship questions with the agent just to kind of open up, you know, they normally, especially if they've gotten a lot of calls, they're gonna be like they're gonna have a wall up. So I like to ask questions. I like to tell them, you know, what my plan is, what I'm trying to do. So that's why I say, hey, I'm from Miami. I'm looking to purchase a house to use as a long-term rental in whatever city I'm calling. And yeah, again, yeah, like you said, I like to use that hey, I'm currently doing this, because it gives them more confidence that this person knows what they're doing with regards to a transaction that is not traditional. So they could get worried if they do it with somebody who's not an expert or experienced, and things could go wrong, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, honestly, that call went really good, Sebastian. There's not too many things I could really say you need a tweak. I think one thing to just consider a little bit more is just to pause on topics you want to really emphasize, and just, I mean, I feel like you let the conversation flow really nicely, but just be more mindful of mirroring and making sure you're using that same tone with the agent that you're speaking with.
Okay. Noted.
Cool.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I want to chime in too for the parts I heard of that. That was really good, Sebastian. I mean, that's definitely why too, you know, you've been seeing really good results in terms of agents wanting to see offers and whatnot too. And of course it's, you know, it's showing by the way you're presenting yourself and sounding on the phone, which is huge. So props to you on that.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I think what really helped a lot is I heard all of the pre-recorded calls before I started doing this, and I was like, okay, I need to understand like what the general flow of the call is, just to have that in mind, not to sound um like a robot or scripted, you know, try to sound like you have a normal conversation, but trying to hit specific topics in particular. And that really helped me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I would like to add for you, maybe just to consider going forward, is to, I mean, I kind of told you, but just to use occupancy to kind of break down that wall. I watched a video about a week ago of how you could use asking questions about occupancy to lead into other areas you want to know a little bit more about. So figuring out when they're moving, I know I kind of told you that info, but figuring out who's living in there, when they're needing to move, what their plans are after, are all things that are just important to consider when on the phone.
Okay. Yeah, that's good feedback. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Well, is there anyone else that would like to volunteer as
I think one more person would be solid to hear, someone who feels like they've been doing pretty well and confidently on the phone. Let me see her. I don't want to put anyone on the spot though at the same time. I mean, but you know who you are if you've been having some decent conversations with agents. I don't know if I want to throw a couple names out there, but I don't want to put anyone on the spot at the same time. But yeah, I mean, if you feel like you've been having decent conversations with an agent, I think it'd be helpful for everyone else to hear that before we go in breakout rooms.
cool.
I guess I could give it a try. I haven't had
You were
much
one of the people
objections.
I was gonna call out.
Yeah, I haven't had much objections. Like the last example with Sebastian and Alex, but I could try.
Cool. Let's give it a go.
Can you hear me good?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. My mind's going blank. All right, hold on.
Just it's easiest if you start like if the phone was ringing, like ring ring.
Yeah. Hey, is this Alex?
Yes, this is.
Hey, this is Pierce. I'm calling about one of your listings that you have on 123 Main Street.
Gotcha. What would you like to know about it?
Uh, so a little bit about me. Me and a partner, we have some money on the side. We're searching around this area to possibly purchase a house to specifically rent out. Can you possibly give me a little feedback on like the neighborhood itself and if this is uh, a good price on the house?
Yeah, yeah. So just to give you some more info on the neighborhood, it's really nice. Not too much complaints from the neighbors. A home just sold about 2 months ago for 10,000 under what this house is listed for. So just knowing that, I feel like this home is listed at a fair price, and I've gotten some decent feedback in terms of people walking the property. I've heard a lot of good things about the bathrooms that they have. But one thing I kept hearing from people walking the property and from our open house is that the kitchen's a little bit outdated and the backyard's a little bit smaller than most people want. And so I think those two reasons are kind of slowing us down from receiving any offers.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that shouldn't be a problem. Uh, I'm looking on Zillow here that uh the seller of the house hasn't really owned it for that long. Does there seem to be anything wrong with the house or?
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, that kitchen's a little bit outdated. The reason why the sellers are selling is because this is a divorce situation. So they just want to get rid of it, and they both want to go their own separate ways.
Oh, all right. Gotcha. Okay. Um, have y'all had much activity with this price at all, or have y'all just had low balls, or where's it at with that?
Yeah, so we've had two investors come in, but they're much lower than the sellers want to be. And we have one offer that is supposed to be coming in hopefully by tomorrow. It's from a traditional buyer, but um, have to make sure their funds are in place and make sure that they're going to be eligible to buy the property.
Gotcha. So with me, I'm probably one of those kind of lower offers. I have two options that we could do. Um, I could possibly send in a kind of lower offer on the house. Or the second option would be, um, I could meet that asking price and pretty much come in and take over. Uh, Hold on, let me restart right there. Pretty much come in and pay closing costs, commissions, and even put some money in the seller's pocket, and just come in and take over the existing mortgage. Has anyone brought that up to you yet?
Yeah, I've heard about it. I haven't ever done a deal like that. Could you tell me a little bit more about that and how they would be able to walk away with money in their pocket if they were to sell even at asking? It looks like they're gonna have to sell about 1 to 2K when I ran my net sheet.
So basically what would happen is, um, we would come in, take over the existing payments. It's originally called subject to. Um, we would have a third party servicer draw money from our account each month and basically pay on that mortgage. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. People usually have some questions on it, commonly their debt to income. Like that means when they're trying to buy another house, they think they might not be able to qualify for it. But usually for those situations, we would come in and just our third party servicer would just show proof that it's being serviced by someone else. Therefore, that wouldn't really be a problem. But I have something in writing if you would like me to send that over with a bunch of questions that you might have.
Yeah, I think they might be open to something like that. So in this situation, I know they both want to just, like I said, go their own separate ways. You mentioned they may have to keep that loan in place. Do you go on the loan, or do they stay in as the person on that loan?
So what would happen is the loan would stay in their name and the deed would transfer to us. That's how that would work.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think something like that might work. Um, I know you said you could come in close to asking for something like that. We'd probably want to be around asking just because this has about a 3.5 interest rate on it. And so we know that something like that to an investor like you might be of value. Do you think you could come up close to that asking? Or
Yeah, that's kind of the goal here to kind of get to what the seller wants for their home. That's usually how the outcome is, just so they can walk away with what they really wanted for their home. Uh, but if you have any other, if, if the seller has any questions or anything, I could hop on the phone with my partner and we could get you in and answer any questions that you or the seller might have and take the next step forward.
yeah, I think that would be great. I think if you could get me an offer in writing just so I could present it to the sellers and see if they may be open to that. And if they
Yeah, go ahead.
great, well, I look forward to receiving that offer, and we'll stay in touch.
Yeah, so about that, before we will have to send in an offer with actual numbers on it, we will have to have information like the remaining loan balance and pretty much the monthly mortgage payment each month. Would you happen to know that already, or would you be able to get that for me?
Um, I'd have to speak to the sellers about that one. I unfortunately don't have that information, but let me reach out to them and get back to you, okay?
Okay, and I'll send that thing in writing that I was talking about, and then I'll look forward to getting that information, and we could take this next step forward.
Great. We'll talk soon.
All right, thank you.
Cool. That went pretty good, Pierce. A couple notes.
Yeah, I froze up on a bunch of it.
It's all good. This is the first time you're doing this whole role play thing, or not the first time, but it's all good. This is where you're supposed to practice and get better at what we're here to what we're here to do. So just to start, the first thing I would tell you is when we hopped on the phone, you asked if I was Alex. When you're calling an agent, you could always assume that who you're calling or the agent's name that you think you're calling. Just be like, hey Alex, how's it going? And so it just kind of sets a better tone to start the conversation.
Right, sure.
So just keep that in mind. Another thing is once you got to the DTI, it was great. I would just tell you, since most agents don't really get the whole gist of subject to, just give them piece by piece. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that is just as you explain to them, clarify that they get it and do a little by little. You don't have to do like a paragraph, just try to do a sentence, let them talk, sentence, let them talk.
Yeah, gotcha.
Cool. Because in these conversations, what's very important is that you mainly want to be listening. Obviously, you want to educate them and let them know exactly what we're able to offer. But it's very important that you're listening to why they want to sell, when they need to sell by. And
Hmm.
so it's very important to just kind of let let the agents lead the conversation and just kind of
Mhm.
pivot to where you need to go when it's the right time.
Gotcha.
Cool. And then other than that, I think you did a pretty good job, Pierce. I think it's just a matter of slowing down and just really understanding what exactly you need to pivot to, because not every conversation is going to be the same, and so you can't use the same pattern you use every time. You just kind of got to play off what the agent is feeding you.
Gotcha. Yeah, that kind of felt like my first call just then.
Cool. It's all good. This is the whole point of doing what we're doing, is just so you could learn and hopefully do better that next call.
Hmm.
Sweet. Well, before we hop into breakout rooms, is there anyone else that wanted to give this a shot? Any questions throughout the... Okay, let me hear this. Laura, when you get into breakout rooms, you're gonna be switching off, and so you'll be able to do that in just a moment. Sebastian,
I actually got a. Oh, sorry. I got a question.
go ahead.
So you stated in the last one that they were getting a divorce. I actually called somebody today, and two brothers own a property, and they're obviously feuding. And the realtor was saying how she didn't, or the sellers did not want us to be on the loan anymore together, like at all. Is there any other possible way to spin that to kind of get them to do the sale? Because they're looking to sell really fast, but they're not wanting to be on the loan.
Yeah, so with that one, I would say it probably won't work if they're not okay with keeping their loan in place. It sounds like that's a lead you're just gonna have to continue to follow up on. And I would even give the agent a call tomorrow and just be like, hey, I know we spoke and it doesn't sound like subject to might be good for fit for them right now, but we should touch bases in a week or so, or not even go to that. Maybe you could first say, hey, let me get you over an offer in writing, and you could present it to the sellers, and if they're open to it, I'd love to continue our conversation. And if you send it and you don't get a response, just follow up within a week or so to just kind of stay on top of them. It's if does that
Because
kind
I
of
had
answer?
two. Yeah, no, that works out pretty good because I had two realtors that were actually really cool, and then just one guy who was, yeah, he was kind of a dickhead.
Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with that often. It's just a matter of just moving on to the next one. I would say about 50% of the agents are gonna be like that, but just remember to look forward to your next call and hope they're not like that.
Yeah, no, a couple of them are actually pretty cool, and they actually got my name and number down for future listings that are open to those offers as well. So that was pretty cool.
Cool. Yeah, and when they are open to working with you in the future, it's very important that you are also saving their information, because I would say 80 to 90% of the agents who say they will send you stuff when it comes time to their new listings, they're most likely not going to. But if you're the one staying on top of them and being like, hey, we spoke about 2 weeks ago, I was just curious if you ran across anything that might be a good fit for me, and just kind of go that way. It's a great way
Okay.
to stay on top of agents.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Thank you.
I have a question regarding what we're talking about right now. Can you hear me?
Yep. What's up?
Yeah. This may be a dumb question. I'm not too sure.
Questions?
Would someone be able to remove themselves from the loan? Like
No.
like impossible, right?
I mean, what I was thinking for that one where, that last question, where there's two people on it and they're feuding, and one might want to, or one is okay with keeping it and the other isn't. What you could try to do is just transfer the title to one of them. But if there's already a feud, it's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, probably not gonna work. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
just wanted to ask that.
cool, cool. Alrighty, well, does anyone have some other questions before we start these breakout rooms?
I actually have a quick question with in regards to that. Just I know there's another thing called you can assume a loan. Is that not something that can be used in that sense? I guess like just kind of piggybacking off Christopher's situation because I had a couple of like that as well.
Yeah, so the thing with assuming a loan is you can't assume a loan to a business, which means you can't use an LLC to buy a property. You can only assume a loan if it's for your personal use. So as investors, sure, it might work for one or two, but it's not something that's scalable.
Got it.
And that's one of the, sorry, I just caught the last end of that question. That's one of the perks of sub 2, right? Where we're not having to qualify or use our own credit to buy these properties. Like Alex said, it's very scalable. Like we can do as many of these as we want a month, essentially. Whereas if we're assuming a loan, then we're limited and it's affecting our credit.